So in order to stop for a moment, go ahead and really just stop what you're doing. Close your laptop, put your cell phone away, and do whatever you do to get present. Because this is never going to happen again. And so I want to invite you just to look. First, I want you to invite you to look at yourself. And the way that I want you to look at yourself is just take your hand and just look at your hand and just stare at it. And I want you to think to yourself for a moment, everything that this hand did to come here. Think about all of the keys on the computer that it typed. Think about all of the bags that it carried. Think about all of the text messages it sent. This is a pretty distinctly human feature that we have. We've talked a lot about a lot of other creatures that live on this planet, a lot of other ecosystems. This hand and all of its bones and its structure is what makes us distinctly us. It makes us distinctly human. So sometimes when we just stop and look, what we get to do is we get to slow down time. Something that's been happening, along with all of the global trends that you guys know about, is that our relationship to time is really changing. It is getting very, very fast. It is getting very, very fast. Now, time is not necessarily one of the global issues that we list or that Richard talks about, but when he asked us to do big thinking, I think in order to do big thinking, we need to stop and we need to look. So take one last moment looking at that hand. And now I want you to take a moment, I want you to look around. And I want you to find, without talking, just find the eyes or the face of someone that you came with, a friend of yours from here, someone that you came with. They're probably sitting near you still, okay? And you can just quietly kind of look at them. Now I want you to look around a little bit more, and I want you to find the face of somebody that you know now that you didn't know before you came. And just find their face. And if you can't find their face, imagine it in your mind. Okay, now I want you to look around a little bit more, and I want you to find the face of somebody who attended your presentation, who was a witness of the work that you did. Wonderful. I want you to look one more time, and I want you to find the face of somebody who helped you. Find the face of somebody who helped you. Okay. So again, I'm inviting you to stop and just to look around, because again, this moment isn't going to happen ever again. John Louis talked about the commons, right? He talked about the power of us all coming together. That's all we have, is coming together, sharing ideas, and showing our work and supporting each other. This is as much about each other as it is about our work. In fact, I would say it's more about each other. So what we're going to do now is one of my favorite things to build community is we're actually going to take a moment to talk to each other about what's been going on the past few days. But in order to do that, I need something from you. I want you to pretend that there's a string attached to your wrist. So just imagine a string attached to your wrist. And as you raise your hand, your mouth closes, right? So when I raise my hand, you raise your hand, and we're all quiet together. Let's give that a try. Go ahead and make some noise. You guys are good and fast. Okay, I don't think we need to practice that twice. Okay, so for this next part, go ahead and stand up. And I want you to find somebody that you don't know so well, and I want you to go talk to them. And I want you guys to both answer this question. What is your favorite memory that you will take away from this GIN conference? Go ahead and chat with somebody now. Wonderful, thank you. I want you to find somebody else, and I want you to share with them what impacted you the most. So find someone else maybe you don't know so well. Definitely try to find someone that maybe you've never even noticed before, and I want you to get personal. I want you to share with them, how are you different? How are you different now than you were when you showed up here? invite you to come back and find the chair that you were sitting in and have a seat. Does anybody want to take a risk right now and share something with our whole group? I'd love to hear some of your voices as well. I just don't want any feedback from my you come over here. That would be best. Thank you. Otherwise, we're all it's just if you stand in front of the speakers.
Okay, so I talked to Mexico, which we'd noticed before, but anyway, it was new. What has really changed for me here and seeing all of you guys, aside from being really inspiring, has been thinking about the communities themselves and what they actually need. I think a lot of you are maybe A-types, aside from being very service-oriented, and that tends to mean that we're driven to do the whole thing ourselves. We have the idea, we come and implement it, and we haven't really stopped and asked what's needed. And yesterday when we were doing the design thinking, I thought about the fact that we haven't done that, in our case at least, and how much in our countries paternalism and assistencialismo are a huge problem. And recently NGOs have come up to us and said, no, we don't want these things. We were going to give them things. And they're like, no. Come, meet them, hear what these people have to say and do something. And I think for me, that's been a big shift in my thinking when I go back. Yes, we have all these ideas. Yes, we want to help, but what is needed and how can we work with people, maybe not birds as partners, but people, there we just have to help, but people as partners to change things in their communities. And I really want them to change that. Like for me, it was very much as I was growing up with them and how do we help them out, but the kids to see their partners in different income levels as partners, as opposed to somebody they're like, this is what you need, kind of thing.
Anybody else care to share what they have to say? Marisol? Meet you right here.
Marisol from Honduras. For me, the most important, the thing that has changed me the most, I went to Costa Rica last year and we got out of there and yes, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and it's like we had the world on our shoulders, and then reality struck and we went back to our work and we went back to our daily routines and we did our projects, and the kids worked really hard on them and everything. But for me, at this point, it's my second GIN conference. I'm definitely more committed now, and after the speech I just saw from the student at Carl Morgan, I'm even more motivated to keep on doing this and inspiring our students back home. Last year we brought 2, this year we brought 8, next year I'm bringing at least 16. So that's...
Things that I like about this conference, first of all, was meeting the needs of the world, the needs of this world that I didn't know that the world needed some things. For example, poverty, I already knew the deforestation, I already knew the problem, but now I discovered no problems, and now I have some kind of idea how to solve them. Also, what I like more about this conference was expressing myself and making new friends, because I usually like to make a lot of friends, but now here, thank God, I met extraordinary people, teachers and students. Guys, you're awesome, and I appreciate you and I love you so much.
I just want to thank you for your honesty thank those of you who came down from the bleachers or maybe walked all the way across the room, because I know that you probably had a little bit of discomfort doing that, right? When I said to you, go talk to somebody you don't know, and you had to kind of get up, maybe even standing up. When I said, can you all stand up? I guarantee there's some people in here who are like, I don't want to stand up. Why is she making me do this, right? And I want you to think about that discomfort, because that is our work right there. That is our work. To stand up and walk across the room and say hello to somebody you've never met, and then to listen to their story, that's harder than getting ready for a GIN conference. That's harder than presenting in front of a bunch of people. That is harder, and that is what you need first. I'm sure a lot of you guys are considered leaders in your schools. You guys ever try to run a meeting and no one's coming to your meeting? Or you're running a meeting on plastic pollution and they show up with bottled water, and you're like, I can't work with these people. I can't work with these people. Okay? Does anybody have this experience, something like this? Okay. You know, and you're like, why doesn't anybody want to work with me, right? Or why is this so difficult? And I'm going to guess that getting ready for GIN, you probably had to become teammates and maybe even friends with people you never talked to before at your school. Okay? One of the biggest barriers to change, I think, in high schools is social relationships. Those kids who do the green team, they're just not my crowd, right? I don't really know them, they're in 9th grade. Or I don't really know them, they're in 12th grade. And that's what we tell ourselves to keep us from showing up and listening to our story, or listening to that story. So I just want you to think about those moments when you go back to school. I really appreciate Marisol's comments about how we get excited and then we go home and we're really used to the way our lives are. So yeah, changing the world, I think it starts with listening to somebody's story and talking to someone that you don't know and taking the time just to stop and listen. You guys are in a really unique time right now in the world. I love this fact. Over 50% of the world's population is under 25 years old. This is a really young planet. I really love what Maria Jose had to say about young people and your tenacity and your stubbornness and your innocence. Oh, think about that for a second. Over 50% of this planet is under 25 years old. It's us. I mean, it's you, actually. I'm not under 25 years old. But it is you. Of that generation, we call you guys the millennials. You have some pretty distinct features about you. Of millennials, 90% of you guys believe that you share specific beliefs, attitudes, and experiences that make you distinctive from the generations that have come before you. Let me translate that. You feel like your parents don't get you. Yeah? Okay. You feel like your teachers just don't get you. Okay? Now, to echo what Maria Jose said, yeah, you know, they're all saying, wait up, listen up, calm down. Yeah, there's that kind of rift between us, but there is something very distinctive about your generation. And I want to ask you, who are you as a generation? What is the legacy that you are going to build? What is the work that you are going to do as a generation? Because it's a really young planet, and this is a really, really distinct time. So something that I think can really support this is that we've been a lot in our heads, right? We've been preparing for this GIN conference. You guys have been doing a lot of research, you've been looking up facts, but it's when you walk across the room to talk to somebody else, that's when you come into your heart. That's when you come into your heart, when you start to listen to somebody else's story. So I want you to think about that for a second. A few minutes ago, I asked you just to get present. I said, just get present. What did you do to do that? What did you do for yourself? Some of you maybe closed your laptop. I saw somebody cross their legs. like in meditation style. Maybe some of you put 2 feet on the floor, right? Maybe some of you sat up, took a deep breath to get present. Use those techniques you've got in your work with GIN, in your work at school. Because we have to connect our head, our heart, and our hands. They have to be connected. If we do work with our hands without connecting to our head and knowing what we're doing, we're not on target. We're not in alignment. If we do work with our hands without connecting to our heart, we're not in alignment. So I just want you to think about that. Even start to work it into your conversations. I dare you. I dare you to turn to somebody at your school and say, where's your heart on this? So I want to close with this quote, this man named Parker Palmer. He says, we are whiplashed between an arrogant overestimation of ourselves and a servile underestimation of ourselves. We are whiplashed between the two. In the same moment, in the same second, you may be saying, I'm just a kid, or I'm just a teacher, or I'm just one. And in the same moment, you are also saying, we're going to change the world, and we're going to do it this weekend. And it's going to happen today. And we hold this paradox between knowing that the condition of the planet is actually pretty terrible right now, and it gets really depressing, okay, and we feel that weight, and also being told, coming together, and being told that we can change the world, and that we have so much power. So I just want to recognize you. I want to look at your faces and say, I recognize that you guys are being tossed between these kind of conflicting ideas, and I want to remind you to stop, and to look, and to listen to people's stories, and to get into your heart. Thank you.